Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we are about to go in depth with Yita's rework and her LD weapon. We're going to talk about exactly what she got in her rework, what an LD weapon does, and an actual cheese that you can do with Yita because of her LD ability. And I think it's going to be a cheese that a lot of people are going to be taking advantage of, and I really don't think Square Enix really thought about this unless they actually did this on purpose and they're going to prevent us from doing something like this in the future. So we're going to talk about all that in this video. So as always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for future content. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about Yita's rework and her LD ability. So first things first, we are going to talk about her rework. Her Crystal Awakening level 55, which is her Snap Punch ability. She gained an extra 2 usage to her Snap Punch, now being at a max usage of 10. When you are using Snap Punch Plus, it turns into a 3 hits melee Brave plus HP attack dealt 3 times. It increases Brave potency, and after each except for the last HP attack, it recovers Brave to self based on 50% of the total HP damage dealt. Her Crystal level 60 Awakening, which is the Touch of Death extend. When you are using Touch of Death, it increases the total Brave hits to 5. It deals 100% splash HP damage to non-targets, and it inflicts the enemies with a 6 action of a sap and HP poison to all enemies. It recovers Brave to herself based off 30% of the HP damage dealt to the target, and it also lowers action delay. Her LD weapon, which is called God Hands, it equips her the LD ability called Six-Sided Star. With a max usage of 4, it recovers Brave to herself based on 50% of her own max Brave. It is a 3 hits AoE melee Brave plus AoE HP attack dealt 6 times. It deals 4 HP damage. When against a single target, it increases the Brave damage dealt by 60%, and it allows for 150% Stolen Brave Max Brave Overflow, and it increases the HP damage dealt by 20%. After each except for her last HP attack, it recovers Brave to herself based on 30% of the total HP damage dealt. It grants her 2 buffs. The first buff is a 12 action buff called In This World With My Partner, and another buff called 100% Evasion Rate Up to herself. While the passive Snap Punch Extend is active, it turns Snap Punch into Snap Punch Plus after you use her LD ability. It does have a high action delay, and it will not consume ability use on her following turn, except for some abilities, which of course would be like her EX and her LD ability. While the Six-Sided Star is equipped, Snap Punch Plus will increase the Greased Lightning by 1 stack, and Greased Lightning stacks will not decrease, which is the little icon above her head. Now the buff In This World With My Partner gives her a 20% attack up, 20% Stolen Brave Max Brave Overflow limit increase, a 20% Brave damage dealt up, 20% HP damage dealt up, a 30% critical Brave damage dealt up, and it turns her HP attack into HP attack plus plus plus. Now here's the thing with HP plus plus plus, and this is what it's in relation to her cheese, which we will talk about here in just a second. So her HP attack plus plus plus, it recovers Brave to herself based on 150% of her own attack, and it is a 4 hit melee Brave plus HP attack with 120% Stolen Brave Max Brave Overflow. It deals critical damage when attacking an enemy that is not targeting her. It deals 50% splash HP damage to non-targets, and it extends the duration of her own existing buffs by 2 actions with a lower action delay. If she breaks the target, it nullifies the action delay, and it grants her an additional turn that will not add to the total turn count, except for when you are in summon phase or if you bring her as a friend support, and it has no action delay. Breaking the target again during this additional turn will not grant another turn, while passive Snap Punch Extend is active. It turns Snap Punch into Snap Punch Plus after use. Now let me explain that so that you can get a better understanding, because I know it's a lot, and I'm gonna put this in the simplest of terms. So whenever you have her HP plus 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 active and you break an enemy with her HP plus plus plus, it will grant her 2 additional turns. Now the first turn, even if you break the enemy again, it will not grant her an additional 2 turns, 2 actions, right? But if you break the enemy on the second turn, the second free action or free turn that she got, it will start that process over again, and you will get those additional 2 turns once again. And you can do that over and over and over if you somehow manage to break the enemy. But we will get to that here in just a second, because there is another character that is a perfect partner with Yida. Yida's LD call pretty much doesn't do anything for whoever calls Yida in. What it does is pretty much exactly what her LD ability does, which gives her an increase on attack by 20% and does that 3 hits AoE melee brave plus AoE HP attack dealt 6 times, deals 4 HP damage, 60% increase in brave damage when attacking a single target, 150% stolen brave max brave overflow, and it increases the HP damage dealt by 20%. And then of course, every single time except for her last HP attack, she recovers brave based on 30% of a total HP damage dealt. That's pretty much it. Her LD card is basically just there to deal some extra damage against whoever it is that you are going up against. There's really nothing special about her LD call. Now let's talk about the quote-unquote cheese method that Yida has now with her LD ability. Now, to make this cheese work, you need to have Sephiroth's BT weapon. If you don't know, Sephiroth's BT weapon, what it does, or his BT effect, basically makes it so that the enemy, whatever amount of brave that they have, will always go back down to 1 for the duration of his BT effect. Now, take that into consideration with Yida's HP plus plus plus. How I said that if you constantly break the enemy over and over, you will basically be doing HP attacks throughout the entire fight over and over. And the thing is though, like, you won't be losing any buffs, because remember that her HP plus 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 extends the duration of a burst by 2. So the way that I do it with this cheese is pretty much I go in with my HP plus plus plus, get those additional 2 turns, and then I use either skill 1 or skill 2 or EX, and then after that I will use my HP plus 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 and do the whole cycle over and over and over. It is such a disgusting cheese. I don't know if this was set up on purpose or if Square Enix didn't think about the fact that this could actually make it possible. But like, for fights, for Lufenia Plus fights that you don't have to put up with the enemies that, like, say decide to jump in front of you and attack you. If you only have to put up with other shenanigans, right, that is manageable, but you can still continue to do this cheese over and over and not let the enemy do anything at all, then that is a very strong cheese method, and it will basically make a lot of potential Lufenia Plus fights very, very easy. But again, you never know. Square Enix might have done this on purpose, and they might plan to make it where the enemies they can basically nullify this quote-unquote cheese that that the Japanese players have discovered. But I mean, hey, I don't see why there isn't any reason for you, me, or anybody else to not take advantage of this and have a little fun in the game. You know, there's nothing wrong with having to put up with so many crazy shenanigans, and then you have this lovely cheese method that you can do to just constantly do attacks over and over and over. I mean, for me, obviously, I'm gonna do it because as much as I do enjoy the quote-unquote competitive side of this in terms of trying to defeat Lufenia Plus fights, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of fun. So that is the quote-unquote cheese method that is with Yida and Sephiroth on the field, as long as you have his BT effect active. And you can use a friend Sephiroth, you can use your own Sephiroth, whatever it is that you want to do. But if you want to take advantage of that, Sephiroth is the man to have out in the field. And as long as you have his burst effect up, it's a GG, you win the fight, depending on, of course, how set Lufenia Plus fight is going to be. But anyways, overall, though, I am very satisfied with how Yida turned out to be. She has become one hell of a unit. The fact that now she has that insane LD ability now, her HP plus is nasty. She has HP Poison Sab, which is pretty dope. She's definitely become a solid unit, and I'm very, very happy with the way that they did her. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you feel about this quote-unquote cheese. And yeah, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.